How the hell did you get out of your cage? A young blonde girl asked as she effortlessly cleaved another foe in half with her enormous sword. Nothing can hold us for long, child, the hulking creature answered, for we are Venom. What about the legion of limbo demons that left to guard you? Replied the mutant known as Magik as she lifted her soul sword to deliver another fatal blow. Venom smiled as his enormous tongue licked away at the strings of spittle dripping from his black lips. They wrote that on me. Never mind, don't tell me. Magik continued. I am well aware of what your kind can do. Symbiotes nearly destroyed my entire home dimension. It's why I put you on lockdown to begin with. Venom was used to being blamed for the voracious appetites of his symbiotic brethren, but what this child didn't seem to realize was that Venom was more than just a rippling mass of xenomorphic protoplasm, a fearsome sight with claws and tongue and teeth, all ready to deal deadly damage to any who dared oppose him. Underneath his alien exterior was a regular human named Eddie Brock. The symbiotic bond shared by the pair had granted Eddie extraordinary abilities and had given the alien a purpose. Together as Venom, they had become a lethal protector, stalking the streets to bring their own brand of justice to those who harm the innocent. Or at least so they thought. To be honest, the details of Venom's past felt a little hazy, because when his own reality collapsed around him, the Klyntar hive mind that connected Venom to his fellow symbiotes overloaded Eddie's brain and left him and his alien counterpart completely disoriented. To be honest, they really weren't quite sure where they had come from, and they certainly weren't sure where or when they were now. We're free now, Venom said, assessing his former captor. And you look far less dangerous than they do. Ha! And you'd be surprised. We'll take our chances, little one, Venom continued, stepping forward to join his beautiful but deadly new companion in the fray. So, what are we fighting? The gods, Magik replied casually. Well, the ones that are left. As Venom surveyed the endless battlefield, he realized that the young mutant was not exaggerating. Somehow, he had ended up in another realm where occult forces were locked in an eternal war. This was far beyond the types of battles he had previously been accustomed to. Fighting criminals and Spider-Man on the streets of New York was easy compared to fighting off against demons and demigods in a cross-dimensional hellscape. In a place like this, there was no right and wrong, no innocent and guilty. These were divine forces at war, and both halves of Venom were beginning to realize just how mortal they were. How can we possibly slay gods, little one? Venom asked, genuinely curious. A big sword works, Magik replied with a smile, giving her own weapon another skillful thrust into the oncoming hordes. And Venom almost lets out a chuckle, glad to finally find a taste of humor amidst the horrors of this strange war. But instead, he falls to his knees and lets out a primal scream as daggers of pain suddenly pierce through every fiber of his being. It was as if an alarm had sounded inside of his head, sending his symbiote side into a frenzy. In his mind, he saw images of a distant planet shrouded in darkness, accompanied by the anguished cries of a million living creatures. But there was something more. Something was alive deep inside the world itself. Someone whose presence felt as cold as the void of space, and they were desperate to find a way out. What just happened? Magik asked, offering a hand to help Venom to his feet. The hive mind, Venom said, slowly recovering his senses. It is a group consciousness, a kind of network that allows symbiotes to communicate, and they just sent us one hell of a message. What did it say? Magik asked, hiding her fear of what the answer might be. They want us to come home to their planet, Venom responded. They want us to slay Knull before he can slay us all. Knull? Who's that? Magik inquired. Their god, Venom said. Then you'd better get yourself a sword, Magik replied dryly before returning her attention to the battle at hand. The bigger, the better. Trust me. Yes, Venom mused, and we think we know where to find one. Venom had heard the legends from his symbiote kin. Long ago, Knull wielded a mighty blade known as All Black, the Necro Sword. It was said that he had once used the weapon to strike down a Celestial, one of the oldest and most powerful cosmic beings in the known universe, and the stories claim that Knull triumphed, but the Necro Sword was lost in the fray. Lost, but perhaps not gone forever. If the sword was still out there somewhere, Venom knew he had to find it, but he was more skilled at swinging through dark alleys and surfing the spaceways. So, how do we get to the other side of the galaxy before all of reality is consumed by darkness? Venom asked, not expecting Magik to have an answer. Easy, she responded, her eyes beginning to sparkle with energy. Just show me where you want to go. Venom reached out to the young girl, allowing a small portion of his symbiote half to slither onto her bare skin, and as the alien entity formed a new bond with Magik, it instinctively tapped into her immune ability to open interdimensional portals, and in the blink of an eye, a doorway across the cosmos had opened in front of them. As Venom stepped through the portal and into the unknown, he turned and waved to Magik. "Thank you, madam," he uttered. She nodded back knowingly before returning her attention to her arcane enemies. Both warriors had impossible battles ahead, yet they were well aware that they had no choice but to keep fighting for as long as it took to claim victory. As relieved as he was to leave the war-torn netherworld behind, Venom had no time to celebrate his escape. Everything was being drowned out by the collective fear coursing through the symbiote hive mind. If Knull were to return, he would not rest until all that was left was endless oblivion. The King in Black was determined to rule once more, and his first act would be to erase all life in the universe. So Venom thought to himself that he could not let that happen. When Venom emerged from Magik's gateway, he found himself standing upon the towering remains of a slaughtered Celestial adrift in the void. He could sense a darkness on its colossal corpse, similar to the sensation he felt when the hive mind revealed Knull's presence on their homeworld. Soon, he saw the hilt of a sword jutting from the Celestial's side, and around the wound the buried blade had inflicted, an ebony energy bubbled and churned like a cosmic infection that had been left untreated for eons. Venom reached for the handle of the necro sword, but the blade would not budge. Its darkness had spread across the Celestial's armored surface, but Venom was never one to give up easily, so he pulled again, and again, and again, but to no avail. With his full focus on the task at hand, Venom failed to notice that he was no longer alone. Some sort of cosmic cocoon, a mysterious vessel with an even more mysterious passenger, had drifted close to the Celestial remains, and little did Venom realize that the man slumbering inside this protective shell had just awoken what was left of the fallen Celestial's consciousness. So as Venom gave the hilt of the all-black one last mighty pull, the Celestial let out a psionic scream. Not from the physical pain of the blade impaled in its side, but rather from the mental anguish it was experienced as it communed with this other cosmic companion. But the reason behind the Celestial screech did not matter to Venom. All he cared about were the end results. So knocked back by the Celestial's violent outburst of posthumous pain, Venom was sent tumbling aimlessly through space as he plummeted through the void, and he watched the all-black now awoken from its slumber, burrowing itself deeper into the Celestial until it disappeared from view. Now he would have to find his way back to it, with aid perhaps from his new mystic ally, if he could survive crash landing into the planet that he was swiftly approaching, that is. Bracing himself, Venom feared he was about to leave behind nothing more than an impact crater as his legacy, but his arrival on the planet's surface was unexpectedly soft, as if he'd been caught and cradled by a million loving hands. As he rose, he realized there was a good reason for his surprisingly safe landing. He was home. This was Klyntar, planet of the symbiotes, and they had unexpected company. Nearby, Venom saw an unusual object, the very same cosmic cocoon that he had failed to notice during his time at the Celestial remains. It too had been hurled through the void and onto Klyntar's surface, delivered as if by fate itself. But while Venom was welcomed home by his brethren as a champion, the cocoon was seemingly about to be swallowed by a sea of hungry symbiotes. Venom could not allow that, now without knowing what or who was inside. With fang and claw, he tore through the cocoon's protective outer shell, and within moments, a figure emerged from inside, clearly more golden god than mortal man. Venom watched and waited as the new arrival gained his bearings, not sure if he was friend or foe. This question was swiftly answered as the luminous warrior turned and attacked him. "Don't know who you are, Goldie," Venom said, watching the planet undulate around him. "But I've got work to do, and I won't let you stand in my way." "I am Adam Warlock," the man said, "and I will not let you corrupt this universe with your darkness, living shadow." Venom instantly lowered his shoulders and laughed. "You think I'm Knull?" he said. "You've got it all wrong, sir. I am no king in black. I'm the one who came to end his reign. Permanently." Adam Warlock paused and looked at Venom. He had not expected to find himself fighting alongside a creature of such darkness, but he would gladly accept any ally willing to join him in his crusade. The battle for the fate of the universe was about to begin, and for the first time in ages, Venom felt as if he knew exactly who he was and where he belonged. He would stand on the side of the light, as long as the faintest glimmer still remained. This shows us that Venom and Adam Warlock are locked in a battle on Klyntar against Knull's forces, and that leads into the in-game missions and matches we experience, where we're tasked of either stopping Knull's essence from reaching the underground on Klyntar, which keeps him from getting the power he needs to leave the planet, or allowing it to reach his destination, giving him the power he needs. While on the map, you're also given missions to destroy symbiote spores throughout the map, and you can even get a piece of the symbiote celestial codex, which is this massive glob hiding behind this area on the Klyntar map. Now eventually Adam Warlock and Venom will get some help. However, although we've spent a little time discussing some of the events going on in 2099, we haven't really touched too much on Doom 2099 and what the resistance against him is like, and trust me, it's very much alive.